Welcome to another adventure with Mistress Quay. This time we're going to sail from Instow to Kilmore Quay in the Republic of Ireland. I'm Roy, and this is the story of owning and sailing my Moody 31 yacht, Mistress Quay. Based at Instow on the North Devon coast, it is the highs and lows of cruising in the Bristol Channel and beyond, where every passage is a new adventure. However, it doesn't feel very much like a midsummer day today. Here we are towards the end of June, and it's rather grey and misty out there with rain showers. We've got our fingers crossed that the weather is going to improve over the weekend through our passage. I'm going to be joined on this trip by Dave and by Chris, who have not sailed with me before, so it'll be an interesting passage and plenty of time to get to know each other. The passage will be approximately 24 hours, and we're sailing around 112 nautical miles from Instow on the north coast of Devon across the Celtic Sea to Kilmore Quay in the Republic of Ireland. The weather forecast is not too bad at all. We have variable winds from the south and southwest. At the moment, in this part of the Bristol Channel, it's very light winds, perhaps force 3. But further out beyond Lundy, we're going to come up against force 5 to force 6, actually following a low as it transits north through the Irish Sea. It's going to produce some fairly big swells, perhaps 2 or 3 metres. But then even on a calm day, the Irish Sea can be extremely lumpy. Okay, I better get the boat prepared. I'll see you in a while. We departed from Instow promptly at 0900, 1 hour before high water, motored out past Appledore to reach the Fairway Buoy at 10 and make the most of the ebb tide as we headed across the Bristol Channel, leaving Lundy Island to port on a close reach with a strengthening wind. By tradition, lunch was steak pasties from John's in Instow. It wasn't long before the wind was above 20 knots and increasing, so we put 2 reefs in the main and reefed the Genoa to make it easier to sail while still achieving 7.5 knots over the water, and really making excellent progress towards Milford Haven. Just when we thought the passage was going well, the wind dropped as evening approached and a heavy mist descended on the Celtic Sea. So bad visibility was less than 100 metres, and a tanker in the anchorage off Milford Haven called us on Channel 16 to make sure we had seen them, Of course, we had seen them, and the watchkeeper on the tanker seemed relieved that we were keeping watch and had him on AIS. At midnight, we were approaching the Smalls and the traffic separation scheme, which is approximately 12 miles wide. Fortunately, the mist had lifted and the shipping was light in both directions, making the transit across the TSS relatively easy, assisted by tracking vessels on AIS and radar. Sunrise, and having crossed the TSS, we could then concentrate on our approach to Kilmore Quay and the tricky pilotage required to pass through the offlying salty islands. Sunrise. It was time to hoist the Irish courtesy flag and yellow Q flag on the starboard signal line, with our club pennant transferred to the port signal line. We contacted the harbour master and were offered a hammerhead berth on one of the two pontoons. Yes, please. Kilmore Quay has 15 visitor berths. From our experience, it can get very busy, and we were lucky to be arriving early in the morning. The facilities in the marina are limited and only available when the harbour master's office is open, but adequate for our short stay. Once safely alongside in Kilmore Quay, we checked in at the harbour master's office to find a very relaxed attitude to visitors from the UK, no passport or paper required, just a mandatory booking form completed by the harbour master. The marina cost for Mistress queue at 9.5 metres was approximately £30 per night. Electricity is extra. The harbour master directed us to the Stella Maris Community Centre for breakfast, which was so good we returned for brunch on the Sunday. Refreshed and back on board, Chris's first task was to power wash the transom, which he had kindly redecorated on the way over. Shore power was connected and the boat sorted out, with the table and cushions placed in the cockpit. It was time to explore Kilmore Quay. It was my job to sample the local Guinness and time for us to think about food. The pub we were directed to was fully booked, so it's fish and chips on the quayside before seeking out some live music and a few more drinks.
Is there any requests, folks? Anything you want to hear?
Needless to say, we all slept well that night. My Sunday started with a run around Kilmore Quay, recorded on Strava, before coffee and breakfast back at Stella Maris. The plan was to go to Waterford or Wexford using public transport, but with only a couple of buses available, we were limited to a trip to Wexford in the afternoon. We returned to Kilmore Quay for more ice cream, and the boat was then prepared for an early departure the following morning.
By all means, get in
So, welcome to Kilmore Quay. We've been here for about a day and a half now. It's an absolute delightful little harbour, very, very friendly marina. The harbour staff are extremely helpful. We've got all sorts of craft here, including a Dirtful 36 in front of us with two gentlemen from Japan who are spending 4 years travelling the world. They occasionally leave the yacht and then go skiing for a few months and then come back to it. Nice work if you can get it. Meanwhile, we've enjoyed exploring Kilmore Quay and the surrounding area and have been in by bus, would you believe, to Wexford this afternoon. Wexford, I have to say, didn't have a lot to offer, especially on a Sunday afternoon, but we enjoyed the experience and returned safely and enjoyed an ice cream whilst we were here back in Kilmore Quay, as they had a festival running all day here, which is all about the seashore. So it's about time to make the boat ready for an early departure in the morning back towards Instow. The weekend has gone incredibly quickly. As you see, we've gone from heavy, misty and rainy conditions to bright sunshine but lighter winds. So we're looking forward tomorrow to some good wind at times. We won't get it all the time, and making a reasonably quick passage back. It's going to be about 26 hours, slightly longer than the passage over here, but we want to make the bar in good time at Instow. We slipped from Kilmore Quay at 0700, knowing we needed up to 28 hours to make the Bideford Bar tidal gate the following day. In the event, we made a much quicker passage with time to spare, but better that than miss the tide at high water plus or minus 2 hours at Instow. As the sun emerged from behind the cloud, we enjoyed some of the best sailing for the whole trip, with force 3 to 4 wind from the east for most of the day. It was time to play with the Insta360 camera on its 3-metre telescopic pole. It was all going so well when first the spray hood window stitching gave way, and then more seriously the auto tiller bracket broke. Okay, you miserable crew, I go to sleep for 30 minutes nap after my lunch, of my customary nap I will say, and you break the boat. What happened?
Well, it was nothing to do with us. We were minding our own business, tooling along quite happily, and all of a sudden your autopilot started beeping loudly, and when we came to look, your boat had fallen to pieces.
Separated itself.
Yes.
And there's the evidence.
Yeah, nothing to do with us. We are
Okay, so what you're
innocent.
saying, it's the skipper's fault, not the crew's fault.
Well, if you'd been here, it wouldn't have happened.
The bosun, his engineering skills were very poor.
So what's the remedy?
The remedy is hand steering, unless we've got another bit like that.
Unless we can jury rig something else.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
North 24 forecast. East or northeast, 4 or 5. Occasionally 3 later. Smooth or slight. Thundery showers for a time. Moderate or good, occasionally poor.
The broken autotiller bracket meant hand steering for the rest of the day and overnight, so a watch system of 1 hour on and 2 hours off was agreed. What did we do before auto helms and autotillers were invented? After a difficult night hand steering Mistress Quay, we had made better progress than anticipated, and as dawn approached, we headed down the east side of Lundy to the anchorage, where we dropped the hook and Chris and I had some breakfast. Meanwhile, Dave grabbed some beauty sleep, which sounded like an engine was still running, and explains why Chris chose the aft berth for the trip. Lundy at dawn is simply wonderful, especially when you are the only boat in the anchorage. After 2 hours at Lundy, we motor sailed the last 20 miles to Instow, arriving before high water to pick up our mooring at the end of a very satisfactory trip to Ireland. Thanks to Dave and Chris for joining me, and happy sailing to everyone for the rest of the season. Thank you for watching, and join me again for the next adventure on Mistress Quay.